Ladies and gentlemen, in our lives, we often encounter moments of difficulty, loss, or failure. These are the ashes of our experiences, the remnants of what was once whole, vibrant, and alive. In these moments, we are faced with a choice: to run from the ashes or to return to them, to sit in them, and to allow them to transform us. I encourage you, in times of difficulty or suffering, do not shy away from the ashes. Come back, sit in them, and allow them to teach you. In that space of stillness, you will find the strength to rise again, just as the phoenix rises from its own ashes, renewed, transformed, and ready to embrace the next chapter of its journey. The concept of impermanence is at the heart of our human experience. Life is in constant flux. Nothing remains the same. From the rise and fall of the sun to the changing seasons, from the birth of new ideas to the decay of old structures, everything around us is in a continuous state of transition. In the midst of this movement, it is easy to fall into the illusion that things should be permanent or unchanging. However, the truth of life is that all things, whether they are joyous or painful, material or immaterial, will eventually come to an end. It is this very understanding of impermanence that we must come to accept if we are to live fully and meaningfully. When we speak of the ashes in our lives, we are speaking of the residue left behind after an event, a relationship, a phase of life, or even a moment of personal transformation. The ashes are the remnants of something that once was, an experience that has passed, a loss that has occurred, a failure that has unfolded. These ashes are not to be feared. Rather, they are the inevitable product of life's impermanence. What was once vibrant, full of energy and promise, has now become the very soil in which new life can grow. The problem arises when we resist the natural flow of impermanence. We attempt to hold on to what has passed, trying to preserve things that are no longer meant to be. We struggle against the changing nature of our lives, wanting to freeze time or return to what once was. But in doing so, we only prolong our suffering. In holding on to the past, we close ourselves off from the opportunities that lie before us, and we create unnecessary pain by refusing to let go. When we finally accept that all things, whether successes or failures, joys or sorrows, are impermanent, we release the need to control, to manipulate, or to hold on to what cannot be held. It is only through acceptance of this truth that we can live with greater ease, peace, and understanding. The ashes become not a symbol of loss or destruction, but of growth, renewal, and possibility. They are the evidence that life has moved, that something has changed, and in that change, something new can emerge. To sit in the ashes is to sit with the awareness that nothing in life is permanent. It is to acknowledge that the pain we feel today, the disappointment, the heartbreak, or the failure will not last forever. Just as the seasons change and the flowers bloom, our struggles too will pass, and in their wake, something fresh, something new will take root. The ashes in this sense are not the end of the story. They are a passage, a transition, and an invitation to embrace what comes next. Impermanence also teaches us to appreciate the present moment, for it is the only true reality. When we are caught up in what has already passed or what is yet to come, we miss the beauty of what is unfolding right now. The ashes in their quiet stillness remind us to look within, to find peace in the present, and to let go of the need for things to remain static. When we accept impermanence, we can embrace change with a sense of gratitude and curiosity, knowing that everything in its own time has its purpose. By understanding and accepting impermanence, we free ourselves from the burden of clinging to the past or fearing the future. We allow ourselves to live fully, to experience the richness of life as it unfolds, knowing that each moment, each experience is part of a larger, ever-changing process. The ashes, then, are not a symbol of defeat or an end, but a reminder of the beauty of transformation, the possibility of renewal, and the power of letting go. In sitting with them, we learn not only to accept what is past, but to embrace the unknown, to trust in the unfolding of life itself. Rebirth and renewal are integral aspects of the human experience, reminding us that even in the most challenging times, there is always the potential for something new to emerge. The ashes that remain after something has been burned or destroyed are not merely the remnants of the past. They also represent fertile ground for new growth. Much like the phoenix that rises from its ashes, we too are capable of rebirthing ourselves in the face of adversity. It is within these moments of devastation or loss that we find an opportunity to transform, to rebuild, and to renew ourselves. When we encounter hardship or experience a significant loss, it is natural to feel overwhelmed, to wonder if we will ever be whole again. The ashes of these experiences may seem like a place of finality, a space where everything we once knew has been consumed by fire. However, it is essential to realize that the ashes are not the end of the story. They are merely the beginning of a new chapter. Every ending, no matter how painful or difficult, carries within it the seed of a new beginning. It is through the dissolution of the old that we create the possibility for the new to take form. The idea of renewal is deeply embedded in nature's cycles. Think of the way that, after the harshest winters, the earth does not remain barren forever. Instead, it gives way to new life. Flowers bloom, trees sprout fresh leaves, and the cycle of life begins anew. Similarly, in our own lives, periods of hardship or loss can be seen as the winter of our existence. The trials and challenges we face may seem to take everything from us, but in truth, they are clearing away what no longer serves us, making space for something new to grow. Just as the earth renews itself after a period of dormancy, we too have the ability to renew our lives after a period of difficulty. This process of renewal often involves a shift in perspective. The ashes represent not just what has been lost, but also the fertile soil in which new growth can take root. It is in the aftermath of destruction or loss that we are often called to reevaluate our priorities, to re-examine our values, and to reconsider what is truly important to us. These moments of reflection allow us to align ourselves with our deepest desires, to shed old patterns of thinking or behaving that no longer serve us, and to emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with our authentic selves. Renewal, however, does not mean simply returning to what was. And it is not about recreating the past or trying to rebuild exactly what has been destroyed. True renewal involves embracing change and transformation. It is about allowing ourselves to be reshaped by our experiences, even the painful ones, and emerging with a new sense of purpose and understanding. The ashes remind us that nothing is ever truly lost. Everything we experience contributes to the evolution of who we are. Even our most difficult moments are integral to our growth, helping us to become more resilient, more compassionate, and more attuned to the deeper truths of life. This process of rebirth often requires us to let go of attachments to the past. We may feel an instinctive desire to hold on to what we have known, to try to recreate what we once had. But this can limit our ability to fully embrace what is possible. To truly experience renewal, we must be willing to release what no longer serves us and step into the unknown. The ashes, in this sense, are not to be feared, but are a necessary part of the process of growth. They are the space in which the new can take root, and from which we can rise with a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. The beauty of rebirth lies in the realization that we are never defined by our past. Just as a tree once burned can eventually sprout new leaves, we too can emerge from our own trials stronger and more vibrant than before. The ashes are not a symbol of destruction, they are the foundation of something new. By embracing this truth, we can allow ourselves the grace to transform, to renew, and to rise again from the ashes of our experiences. In doing so, we not only honor the cycles of life, but also unlock our own potential for growth, healing, and transformation. In the face of adversity and chaos, it is often easy to become swept up in the turmoil, to react impulsively, and to lose sight of the stillness that exists beyond the storm. The ashes, which may seem like the remnants of destruction, represent not only the end of something, but also the potential to access an inner stillness that can guide us through even the most turbulent times. This stillness is not something external. It resides deep within us, and it is only through turning inward, through embracing the present moment without judgment or resistance, that we can tap into its transformative power. When life is chaotic, when the world around us feels uncertain or overwhelming, it is all too common to become consumed by the noise, both external and internal. The mind races with thoughts, emotions surge in all directions, and the weight of the situation can feel unbearable. In these moments, it is easy to become lost in the chaos, to identify ourselves with the turmoil, and to forget that there is another reality, one that exists beneath the surface. It is in the ashes of our experiences, the remnants of suffering or challenge, that we have an opportunity to discover this stillness, this inner calm that remains untouched by external circumstances. This inner stillness is not a passive state of inaction or avoidance. Rather, it is a profound presence in the moment. It is a space where we are fully aware of what is happening within and around us without becoming attached to it. The ashes symbolize the space where we can pause, reflect, and simply be. When we sit in the ashes, we are not allowing ourselves to become swept away by the winds of change, but instead, we are choosing to stay grounded, to anchor ourselves in the present. This stillness is not something we create. It is already within us. It is always available, even in the most chaotic of circumstances, but it requires us to quiet the mind, to soften the grip of resistance, and to open ourselves to the flow of life as it is. It is easy to believe that we must act immediately to solve problems or fix situations the moment they arise, but this often leads to decisions that are driven by fear, anxiety, or impatience. In contrast, the stillness found in the ashes allows us to respond from a place of clarity, wisdom, and peace. It is through stillness that we gain the ability to see clearly, to discern what is truly important, and to act from a place of alignment rather than reaction. When we are able to be still amidst chaos, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the situation at hand, and we are no longer driven by the need to control, but instead we respond with intention and awareness. The stillness in the ashes is also a space of healing. When we experience pain or loss, it is natural to want to escape or numb ourselves from the discomfort. Yet it is in the very moments of stillness that healing can occur. By sitting with our pain, our sorrow, or our confusion, we allow ourselves to process our emotions fully. We stop running from the discomfort, and instead, we allow ourselves to feel it, to experience it, and in doing so, we make room for the healing energy that is always available. The ashes, then, are not only the remnants of something that has passed, but also the fertile ground in which healing can take place. Through stillness, we allow ourselves to be with our pain, and through this presence, we find the space to release it and move forward. Moreover, stillness in the face of chaos does not mean detachment from the world around us. It means being deeply connected to the present moment, to what is happening right now without getting lost in judgment, expectation, or resistance. It means being able to observe our thoughts, feelings, and circumstances without identifying with them, recognizing that they are transient and impermanent. The stillness found in the ashes is not an escape from life, but an invitation to experience life more fully, more consciously, and with greater compassion for ourselves and others. In this stillness, we discover that we are not defined by the chaos around us. We are not our thoughts, emotions, or circumstances. We are the awareness that observes them. The ashes, with their quiet presence, remind us that even in the most difficult times, there is a deeper part of ourselves that remains untouched, that remains at peace. By returning to this stillness, we learn to navigate the storms of life with greater grace and wisdom, finding peace even in the midst of uncertainty. Through the ashes, we find not only the remnants of the past, but the clarity and calmness to move forward with renewed strength and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. The ability to be present in the face of adversity is one of the most powerful tools we have in navigating life's challenges. When faced with difficulties, it is common to want to escape, avoid, or rush through the discomfort. However, the act of sitting with the ashes, accepting and remaining present in the moments of pain, confusion, or loss, offers us an opportunity for profound growth and understanding. It teaches us the transformative power of being fully engaged in the present moment, rather than trying to escape from it or wishing it away. Often when adversity strikes, our first instinct is to move away from the discomfort, to avoid facing the reality of the situation. Whether it's through distraction, denial, or even action, we attempt to protect ourselves from the pain we feel. Yet in doing so, we may miss the deeper wisdom that can only arise when we sit with the present moment, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. The ashes are symbolic of the challenges and losses we experience, and by returning to sit in them, we are not simply allowing ourselves to feel the weight of our circumstances, but are also giving ourselves the opportunity to learn and grow from them. Sitting in the ashes requires an act of deep acceptance. It means allowing ourselves to be with the reality of what is, without resistance, without wishing things were different, and without attempting to control the outcome. In these moments, we can choose to stop fighting against the present and instead embrace it fully. We learn that it is not the external situation that causes our suffering, but our resistance to it. By choosing to sit in the ashes, we choose to face the moment as it is, without judgment or fear. We choose to acknowledge that this moment, no matter how difficult, is part of the unfolding of our life, and there is something to be gained from experiencing it fully. When we resist the present moment, we often compound our suffering. The more we wish things were different, the more we create mental and emotional turbulence. But when we accept what is, when we sit with our feelings and experiences without trying to change them, we open ourselves to a deeper level of peace. Being present in the face of adversity does not mean that we are passively accepting our suffering. Rather, it means we are allowing ourselves the space to fully experience it. This is where healing begins. As we learn to embrace the ashes, we discover that they are not the end, but the beginning of a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Thank you.